All right, Rob Brown here with Brendan Martin, executive producer down in Ocala, Florida. Sidelines Sports halftime show.
Our first halftime show.
Yeah, we did a pop-up show a few weeks ago after the A&M Florida game. We got a lot to cover in the Southeastern Conference, and college scores will be up on the screen thanks to the brilliance of our executive producer, Brendan Martin. Let's run down the carnage in the SEC today. Florida went on the road in Austin, lost 49-17 to Texas. Quinn Ewers 5 touchdown passes. South Carolina, Brendan, goes to Vanderbilt Skinner box and beats the Doors 28-7. South Carolina could have beaten Alabama easily late there. Same thing against LSU. They're 6-3. They could be 8-1. Yeah. You never know. But right now, second and goal. We got Alabama leading LSU 7-3. The big one today in Oxford, Vaught-Hemingway Stadium, largest crowd. It's got to be the largest crowd in Mississippi history at Starkville or Oxford or Jackson. 68,000 plus at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium in Oxford. The Rebels are still alive in the playoff hunt. They get a 28-10 win over Georgia in the rain and the fog and the fireworks, smoky haze. Georgia's still alive too. That was a loser leave town match for Ole Miss if they lost, but both Georgia and Ole Miss still in the hunt for the playoffs. And Brendan, Fran Beard's going to join us here in a few minutes. And Lauren Meadows, hopefully from Texas.
Yeah. Here we go. Sorry, scroll down a little bit.
So
we didn't play. Okay, we got Washington, Penn State. No, 0-0. We have
0-0, 0-0. Who's winning?
0-0.
The Bears.
The Bears. Did you see my shirt? I might have been drinking adult beverages because I never really can ever, as Urban Meyer would like us to know, never ever get used to not being on the left side of.
Well, as Urban Meyer said on this show yesterday, you've got to be aligned as a university. And that means your board of trustees, your president, your athletic director, your coaches, your fans, all in, okay? If you're not, and you have people going in different directions, you have chaos. You have a cluster shuck, okay? That's where you go.
Friends.
Let's bring in grizzled veteran journalist, one of the best sports writers in the country, Franz Beard, GatorBaitMedia.com. Franz, look, Brendan and
I never get used to losing at all, especially when I take it in the hey, Franz, look at this. That's how I feel today.
And look.
I like the hat myself.
Do you like that?
Hey, Franz, Brendan's right. You know, Urban Meyer, Steve Spurrier, they detest losing.
So do I.
At 11 o'clock kickoff out in Austin, 49-17. If you get comfortably numb with losing, Pink Floyd, great song, you've got problems. Florida, when Urban was on the show with us yesterday, y'all know him. He said, you've got to be perfectly aligned. The board of trustees, the board of regents, the president, the athletic director, the coaches, the fans. There's no alignment at Florida.
Well, here's where your problem was. And I would give, I'm not trying to make an excuse here, but I would say that Florida's issues today had more to do with injuries. You're playing back there with safeties trying to play corner with kids who have no experience being out there, etc., like that, and it showed. But the biggest thing that showed was Florida had no pass rush today. One sack, and that was on one of the first plays of the game. Only one quarterback pressure the rest of the way. It's like shooting fish in a barrel when you're back there by yourself and you don't have to worry that you're going to get taken down. You can complete a lot of passes. It's not exactly rocket science when that happens. And look what happened. Florida did that.
That's exactly what it felt like, Franz. It's exactly what it felt. Rob, didn't it feel like they were just like, okay, go deep, dude. Like I'll hit you deep. Like you do a fly pattern. Just go like
Jimmy,
this
Jimmy,
take shots, brother.
take a left at the
Go deep.
driver's side wheel of the Chevy. You know.
Yeah. Just run, brother. I'll get you deep.
Bobby, go to the fence. Go to the fence. Take a left. You know, it felt like that though because Texas had so much time to throw the ball, and give credit to Texas. They're really good. They played well today, but like you know, they had a bad game against Georgia. A lot of people have bad games against Georgia, although Ole Miss today did not. Ole Miss showed up, and the final score on that was 28-10. Realistically, should have been about 45-10. Ole Miss settled for some field goals, could have gotten touchdowns instead. But
how big is that win for Lane, Rob?
That's his first signature win. I think really, guys, in the 5 years he's been at Ole Miss, for sure, that's the biggest win. When they beat number 1 ranked Alabama, October 4th of 2014 in Oxford, they beat them 23-17. This game is actually bigger, guys, because Ole Miss is still in the college football playoff hunt. They've never been to Atlanta, haven't won the SEC since 1963, and they had the biggest crowd in Mississippi college football history, over 68,000 in the Grove, in Vaught Hemingway Stadium. I can imagine 500,000 in the Grove. But college football, folks, if you thought that the playoff was going to mess up the regular season and turn people away, in spite of NIL and the portal, the interest in college football is strong and is powerful as I can ever remember.
Yeah, the port, for all the damage the portal may have done, and it has. I mean, we can't deny the fact that the portal is damaging because there's no guardrails on the portal. The fact that we have a playoff is saving college football in spite of itself.
Yeah.
You got 12 teams that are actually going to go. Right now, I'd say you got probably 18, 19 teams that are still really serious contenders. So we've got what, 4 more weeks of the season and an awful lot of teams are going to be white knuckling it the rest of the way, wondering, am I good enough to get in? Am I good enough to, will I make it? Will I not? I'm really encouraged by the playoff. The only thing I hope we don't get to a point where we have too many teams trying to get in. And there's always that
be like the NIT, right? For college.
Oh yeah.
College playoffs, man.
Well, there's always Brendan, there's always that attitude. Well, if we're doing this well with 12, imagine what it would be with 16. Imagine what it would be if we added 20 to 24. We don't want to, the way this is going to work out is we're going to wind up with 12 teams with 2 or fewer losses. We may end up with 1 9-3 team in there. I don't know.
We will.
But for the most part, we're going to wind up with 12 teams with really good records in there. As opposed to if you start getting it up to 24 teams, as some are already suggesting, look what's going to happen. You're going to have 8-4 teams. You're going to have 7-5 teams are going to sneak in there. Keep it reasonable. Keep it so that getting to the playoff is a big deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Not, we don't want this to be like a wild card team in the NFL that's 6 and, that's like what they play 17 games in the NFL, 9-8, just barely made it. Or like in the NCAA basketball tournament where where you get teams, 19 and 17. Come on, give me a break. I don't care. 19 and 17, still 19 and 17. Who is it that said you are what your record says you are? 19 and 17.
And
Your
Indiana's
record, your
coach.
record does.
Yeah. Well, friends, you just hit on something. If you go back, you've got all the
That's really
automatic
jokes.
berths in the NCAA tournament. So that's where you get North Carolina, AT&T, and all those other schools. They come in there, they're cannon fodder. I mean, they're going to get taken out pretty quickly. But for those schools, it's a really big deal. But looking at this college football season, and Brendan is doing a great job of putting all these scores up on the screen. The games today, Georgia Tech, the U went down. They've been getting by on a wing and a prayer for weeks in college football. They were lucky to beat Cal, lucky to win several of their games this year. They went down. The ACC had a couple of weeks ago 2 undefeated teams, the U and Pitt. Well, remember last week, SMU killed Pitt 48-21. The Ponies are sitting there at number 13.
Ponies.
There is a lot of interest around the country. Yeah, college football. SMU at number 13.
I know a little about the Shmoo.
Yeah, I mean, but guys,
I've been down there.
But they've got what SMU has is a damn good coach in Rhett Lashley, and I don't think that he's interested in going anywhere because he can get all the NIL money he wants from Highland Park there at SMU. And number 2, hey, he's in a conference that's a lot easier to get to the playoffs than the SEC.
Listen, his first name is Rhett. I mean, he's kind of perfect, right?
Well, he's from Springdale, Arkansas. Up there.
I mean, your first name is Rhett, and you're the head coach of something in Texas.
He was Gus Malzahn's quarterback from 8th grade on. He knows what it's like to be thrown under the Gus bus. Let somebody else be the offensive coordinator when things don't go right. You take over. And I will say this: some of these comments about the U will make the playoffs, guys. In the state of Florida, I want to throw this at y'all because y'all have forgotten more than I know about it. But I've always watched Florida. If you look at Miami, Florida, and Florida State, those are the big 3. Then Central Florida, then South Florida, then Florida Atlantic, Florida International University. Which school right now is in great shape? Miami's having the best season of anybody, but Miami. FSU and Florida, how did they get where they are? That should never happen.
No, it shouldn't, but I will say this. Of those 3, Florida's actually in better shape than any of them because of the fact that we will have SEC money.
Correct.
They will have ACC money, which means they'll be holding bake sales in car washes and yard sales to pay the bills. When you've got money, you can make things happen. You can salvage what seems to be a dismal position. When you don't have money, you can't do that. And they don't have the money at FSU, don't have it at Miami. All you got to do is look at the attendance numbers. Let me see what the attendance numbers are.
Yeah, but I think we have to address what we are addressing. The fact that yesterday we're saying that, I mean, there's a whole fire thing going on. There's like a bonfire that we need to address, right? Because what happens if all the things are bad and that go bump in the night right now that we're all afraid of that come true times 2, I mean, we're like another decade of pain and misery.
Well, that's true. However, I will say this. Florida has the ability, because of the SEC money, the SEC in 2 years will be distributing right at $90-something million. The ACC is going to be distributing right at about 45. And you can salvage an awful lot when you've got money. When you have money, for example, you can afford to, if you need to, fire a coach. Which, if Florida had to right now, they could fire Billy Napier, but they didn't. The money is it's going to cost $100 million if they were to fire Billy Napier.
All right, break that down for everyone who doesn't understand that.
One of the reasons that Billy Napier isn't fired is Kent Fox was basically told he's the guy that hired Billy Napier. He's the guy that approved of the firing of Jim McElwain. I wrote today about. Let me look at. I want you to think about all. By the way, speaking of today, Todd Golden issued a statement and said, "Hey, I have been cooperating since September on these allegations. They're not true. I have been cooperating 100%. That's why." Basically said, "Why do you think I'm still coaching? I've been cooperating on this, and there must be a shred of evidence about it." But I want you to take a look. This is just since 2017, okay? Women's coach Cam Neubauer, football coach Dan Neubauer, harassment. Mullen got a show cause, okay? Soccer coach Tony Amato, harassment. There's an NIL deal with Rashada, went south. Now you got this thing with Todd Golden. And whether the thing is with Golden or is true or not, the damage is already done. But just because the fact that it's out there. But Florida, Florida's a dumpster fire right now. But that being said, I go back to the premise. When you have money, you can afford to call in the fire truck.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this as you just mentioned.
With a bunch of really good firefighters. Like
if I live
hot firefighter chicks.
If I live in the projects in Dallas and I catch fire, or if I live in Highland Park and my mansion catches fire, which one gets the fire truck first?
The mansion in Highland Park.
Of course.
Bingo.
When your power goes out from a hurricane and the entire city, whose power comes on first?
I want to address something here that Chuck McKenzie is saying. He's a smart guy. He watches this show, and thank you so much, Chuck, and to everybody. We appreciate you more than you know. Has any Gator team ever had 3 straight losing seasons? I don't think Gator fans are. I think they have. But it was a long time ago. I know
it's in the 40s, and they had 4 consecutive losing seasons.
And that was after World War II, when the male population, a lot of guys were gone. When we ended World War II in 1945, in September, there were 137 million people in this country. 16 million were in the service. That's 12% of your population. But bottom line, it's been a long time for Florida to be this way. But you've got to Florida doesn't have a president. You've got a feckless, spineless guy in the office who been doing a damn thing, and Rome is burning while Nero is fiddling. And everybody's afraid, well, we can't do anything. Your board of trustees, your board of regents, this is what they're there for. They have the authority to get rid of a president. Now, you've got an interim president who used to be a sitting president, but I'm with all of y'all. You look around the SEC, Florida being in this situation, Florida State, they brought it on themselves. They've got a cancer culture that came from whining about not making the playoffs last year. I love Mike Norvell as a coach, but they should have said, man, that's life, and a damn thing we can do about it except work our butts off so we never get in the situation again. And they didn't do that. And they brought it on themselves. And when 31 of their players quit, don't give me this opt-out bull crap. Well, they quit on their team, and they disgraced that brand. They soiled their linens.
It did.
Florida State,
but it also started a bad precedence that it doesn't mean anything. So I think the playoff, the 12th thing is the 12-team playoff is good timing. Hey,
Oh, it's
so
great.
I know like Urban said something about it yesterday, how much he likes the playoff and the whole system. Now, look, for me, this is sort of this was worst case scenario for Florida to go out and get there. Like, it's one, again, we say this over and over. It's one thing to lose. It's one thing to lose big. It's another thing to lose big at the first time that you've played at a huge stadium, massive audience, and then to really, really lose big is not good, right? I mean, are they really able just to drop this off and say, no DJ Lagway? We'll be
No,
so much
no.
better.
Friends, I'm going to throw one at you, friends. And I want everybody
I'm
watching.
asking friends. Do you think
Yeah.
do they get a pass here, friends, because Lagway's out or not?
I think they guaranteed a pass for the rest of the year when they extended Billy. In retrospect, I think it was pointed out if they had not extended Billy, then you could guarantee that Lagway would be someplace else. Miami was prepared to back up a Brinks truck. I'm told Georgia already was already prepared to put
Brinks truck. I'm sure they're ready to fly the plane in and just land it full of gold tipped. I mean,
look at the people who are losing quarterbacks.
Why would you stay? I don't even want to ask that question, but Rob and Franz, quickly, why would you stay? Because I want to watch football. Why would you stay?
Well, if you're going to stay here at Florida, it's because you really believe that Billy Napier's got the right group of guys together to win. Has he? I don't know. We won't know till next year. But given the fact that take a look at just a second. Alabama loses its quarterback.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt. I know everybody can say Vanderbilt, whatever, but they have won 6 ball games this year. They lose their quarterback. Ole Miss loses its quarterback this year.
By the way, Franz, can I stop you real quick? I want to say something. Austin Simmons, where was he committed?
He was committed to Florida, and
I know. I'm being
the reason he switched the commitment to Ole Miss had more to do with baseball than it did with football.
But I was going to say he was. I know he was committed for a long time to Florida. He reclassified, and he was the backup. Jackson Dart went down early in the game today. Yeah. People thought it was maybe an Achilles injury. That kid comes in. Did they even miss a beat? You've got Charlie Weiss Jr. and Lane Kiffin coaching the quarterbacks there. I mean, you've got Gomer Pyle's cousin as your football coach at Florida right now. Well, I mean, I'm with you. It is, to me, nothing is getting better. Hey, want to say something about Winter Timber Outdoors? Check out that BOGO special right now. Open every day of the week in Athens, Alabama. They are going to grow in the footprint that is the Southeastern Conference. If you are a duck hunter, a deer hunter, dove, quail, turkey, they have over 2,000 shotguns, rifles, and handguns in the store. Great selection of clothing, more Sitka gear than you've ever seen in your life. Dixie decoys, they've got it all. Winter Timber Outdoors, proud to have them as a sponsor here, making this possible to be on tonight. But I'm just saying, for y'all's sake, are both of y'all, take off your journalism hats because you're both damn good. You're pros. Are you, as fans, if you're not mad as hell after this loss and you're comfortably numb with a 49-7 beatdown, it's over for Billy Napier. That's my take.
Here's the thing that I think that I'm not happy that they lose 49-17.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm not happy that Florida went in there with all these players injured either. It's been a rough season. Put Graham Mertz and Lagway still alternating at quarterback, and I promise you, Florida beats Georgia. Florida beats Tennessee. And they would have gone into today's game 6-2.
Different mindset.
with a totally different
Totally
mindset.
different. Totally different.
And injuries,
Totally.
injuries turned what could have been a level field into one that isn't. Um, at 6-2, Florida, it looks at the rest of the season and we look at it as a successful year because we know they're going to beat FSU, that we know they're going to be at 7 wins. Even if they had not beaten Georgia but had beaten Tennessee, we look at, okay, we need one more win to go 6-6. When the odds makers made us 4.5, the over under was 4.5 wins.
Yeah.
So the perspectives are different. I'm not happy with losing. I'll never be happy with losing.
Yeah.
But I understand this, that when you are that close to being there, when you can, and unlike year one, when they were losing games they should have won, they shouldn't have won the first game. They shouldn't have won the third game. They got beaten in those games. They got beaten soundly in those games. But to Napier's credit, he changed things around. Today is kind of like 2 steps backwards. They had one big step forward, and now they've taken 2 steps backward. I think that there's got to be an awful lot of soul searching done on that defensive staff. And I think that, I like Ron Roberts. I really do like Ron Roberts. But I still think that the rest of the entire defensive staff has to be evaluated. And I'm not sure that Florida's got the defense together. I mean, look at what's going on.
Yeah.
Look at what's going on in the rest of the SEC. I mean, you got South Carolina. Everybody's talking about how good South Carolina. I mean, how good Vanderbilt is. Well, South Carolina hosed them today.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
28-7 in Nashville.
In Nashville, yeah.
You know the last time Vanderbilt beat South Carolina? And they play every year, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What did I say to Urban yesterday? He laughed. I said, I told you, Urban, a year ago, when the smart kids get good, watch out because they're going to be tough to catch.
Yeah. Well, here's something I'm going to throw out there. In this case, you look at Hugh Freeze at Auburn. I mean, he's recruiting right now. He's got a top 5 class ready to go in December. Auburn has 2 collectives. One of them sitting on over $40 million in cash right now. The other one, they got money too. I don't think this is sustainable, but if you're going to build with offensive linemen, you got to do it out of high school. You can't go in the portal very, very often and get really good offensive linemen. So you look at Georgia. They might take 6 kids a year via the portal, but they're very selective in who they take because that culture allows them to be. And guys, you look at the situation with Billy Napier at Florida. This is year 3. And what is better now than it was in year 1 or year 2? I mean, injuries, that's all part of it. That's why you always recruit. You got to have a plan. You got to have a backup. You always got to have players. If you're not developing players, you're screwed. And Scott Strickland, Brendan's right. Sure, he's saying he's coming back because, friends, can Scott Strickland afford to, if he fires Billy Napier, he's going down with him, isn't he?
Well, Franz, listen, Franz and I both, without saying nothing about all of that stuff, because everyone's heard that they're going to heard, but it's not like he hadn't been looking himself. I mean, there's plenty of rumors of him visiting, family members that just might have been, close to a certain SEC school in Texas. So, he does stuff like that, and then he's smart because I think you got to know, I mean, friends, I even, and I keep talking about the Urban Meyer. Like, if you didn't see the Urban Meyer thing, you got to see it. It's just because he's great. But he's like, even Urban Meyer's just talking about how he can't believe Billy has brought him back from the clutches of death before today's game. And then I'm thinking to myself, God, even Urban's duped in a lot of ways because they're going to go, everyone's going to feel different when they go be 54-0. Rob and I were talking about it off the air. And then, of course, that feels different because when your brand is embarrassed on the road consistently over and over, man, like over and over, you got to take it. It's really depressing to see the Gators lose like that and that style. Like it just hurts more, right? And I think that's when people just get fed up.
Like, friends, here's what's going to cause.
And I get it, because I'm really like that makes me fed up. Like you got my shirt on, Francis.
What's going to cause Florida to make a change is when the fans don't show up. When you've got half the stadium gone in the second quarter,
it could happen.
That's when an athletic director will say, we got to make a change. I have nothing against Billy Napier at all, but I look at the Florida standard in the last 30, 40 years.
Florida went 0-10-1, sold out every ball game.
In 1979, Pell's first year, their fans are unreal.
It'll always sell out. I mean, it's the Gators for life.
But Florida sells out every game. You've got fan support. That always means money, friends. But
here's the thing you're going to look at is this year Scott Strickland's going to get a mulligan, okay?
Yep.
Because people are starting to realize you can't just keep firing coaches. Yeah. Think about this. They paid Will Muschamp right at $10 million to buy him out, okay? Yep. They shouldn't have paid McElwain a dime, but he must have had dirty pictures of somebody because they paid him, I think they paid him something like $7 or $8 million. They paid Dan Mullen $12 million. Coach. Okay. So what have we got there? 12, 22, got $29 million. That would pay to buy out Billy Napier, for example. That you could buy out Billy Napier and have an additional $3 million that you could spend on getting your recruiting budget the same as Georgia. Florida's recruiting budget is $2.6 million. Georgia's is 5.8. You wonder why Georgia's doing well? Look at the recruiting budget. That's where it's about. It's not about the people in the stands. People in the stands are nice. A wonderful thing to have them. It's about how much you're spending on recruiting. Because guess what? If you're spending the money on recruiting, the people will be there in the stands. What's that thing from, what was that great line from Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah. But in Florida's case, when you're sitting there,
did that right up top.
It's one of the top 3 states in America for high school football talent. Mm-hmm. And I understand you've got Florida State,
Texas,
Central Florida. Texas is 1, Florida is 2, California's 3, vice versa. No excuse. You got a class in the high 40s right now at Florida. That's unacceptable. You bring back Billy Napier. Here's what your problem is. If you're Florida or any school facing this, when your coach is out there like Napier is right now, it's hard to get quality assistant coaches because they're going to say, well, I'm not sure I want to uproot my family and move them across the country or wherever. And in a year or two, we could be doing this again. So that's the problem. And that's any school.
You've got a revolving door at Florida. And at some point in time, you got to say no more. And that's what's got to happen now.
Yeah, well, you got to say no more, and you got to stop, and you've got to make a stand. I get it. I get what you're saying, but I get it. I don't think you can fire Napier. I'm not a Billy Napier guy, and I'm not this whole thing to me, and I hate to be like I can't do it anymore. And I'm not saying Franz is or Rob is. I am done. The apologetic tour, the excuses, all the crap, and I'm not even being drama. Like truly, it's I'm over it as Gator fan. As far as media member, I'm going to still do my job objectively and exactly how we do our job. When we chase a story, the first thing we say, how many sources do we have? 1 or 2, 3? 3. Okay, great. We always do our job. We come here and we talk, water cooler and stuff, but most of the time it's as what we know as truth, and we don't try to sugarcoat it as it comes in or what we can share or whatever. And not that we're some great insiders, but we get, information as it comes, sometimes our way. So anyways, and we bring all this stuff for you all for free on Saturday. All 136 beautiful of you watching tonight who are going to subscribe, by the way. Hit the subscribe button. It'll pop up the QR code. Please subscribe to our shows. We have a lot of them, and these guys are great. And we're doing a little halftime thing, so thanks for supporting that as well. Rob Brown, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. in Memphis from the Cherry Farm somewhere deep.
Yeah, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central
of Memphis.
Yeah. And, guys, I think you have to add if you're going to do a buyout, that the problem is you got to add 21 million on that damn house settlement, friends. That's the problem. So if you were to buy out Billy Napier and to do that revolving door, what are you going to get? Now you're going to lose a December signing period. You're going to add $21 million you're going to have to pay out $47 million. You said it earlier in the show. It's $100 million. And you've got to think about with the program, Lane Kiffin's been at Ole Miss now 5 years.
$100 million because it's not $100 million. Really, $26 million to get him.
When you figure out
and even Urban said, look, Billy's 80% of his recruiting class is built on the future. 82% of his recruiting class is built on the future. Those guys could start jumping ship any second, and this whole thing could be done.
But here's your point, Brendan. You paid Billy Napier's $26.8 million to fire him.
Okay.
The assistant coaches are going to cost you $15 million because they all have 2-year contracts.
Biggest staff in history of time, in the history of the SEC.
So you had $15 million there. That's $43 million. You got another $4 million involved in the people in the building. So you're at what, $47 million.
But you're not going to hit that turnover all at once. You think you're going to turn off the whole thing, the whole regime at once? I think you're not. I think you're going to get rid of Billy, and as you go, look, I get what you're saying, but you're going to spend the money.
If Billy were to be fired today, I can tell you right now they'd keep 2 coaches. Billy Gonzalez.
Absolutely.
And Jabbar Jaloop.
Absolutely.
Running backs coach.
You have to for recruiting sake. You can't clean house for recruiting sake, because we did that last year with what's his name, the coach, and everyone. That was, what was his name? Franz. Everyone with I can't remember his name. I'm so tired. But they said this is going to affect the recruiting, and it didn't. We lost 2 coaches last year. I'm going to look it up. But anyway, we just got to keep these, because these guys Rob. These assistant coaches are the ones that do the legwork. Corey
Raymond went back to LSU. Yeah.
Thank you. So and that affected recruiting. So I don't know. You can't just go wipe them all out, because you got to keep them around. You want Lagway to stay. You can't just go.
You're going to get Lagway. Look, as long as Billy's staying, Lagway's staying. So is Jaden Ball.
Unless you get a huge name.
This, if there wasn't the unity that this team has, they'd all be going. But they got it. So they're willing to roll the dice.
Blackmail.
And besides that, again,
blackmail.
it comes down to money.
Lauren Meadows on the phone. Lauren Meadows, welcome to the program, live from Texas. Lauren, you got there?
Lauren's in the witness protection program. Lauren, can you hear us?
Yo, what's happening?
There he is. Hey. Yeah.
Can you turn on your camera? We got to see your smiling face after that game today.
There it is. What's up, man? Hey,
what's happening? I'm outside of Vince Young Steakhouse.
Oh, yeah?
You
got a leather jacket on?
Yeah, no.
Hey, guys, I gotta go work, guys.
All right, thanks, Franz, for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, Franz, hold on. What are you writing about tonight, Franz? GatorbaitMedia.com.
I'm writing about the fact that it was a ball game. The Gators didn't do well. I'm going to throw in something about Todd Golden coming out with a statement saying, "Hey guys, I have been cooperating since September, and um, if that is true, which I have no doubt it should. Even with that though, Florida should have made a statement yesterday. This came from him on Twitter. It did not come from Scott Strickland. Scott Strickland should have been the one to make that statement saying, our coach will be coaching Monday night. We have been working with him. He has been cooperating. We are looking into this, and you know, didn't come from there though. So you want to talk about what's wrong, Brendan? You want to talk about what's wrong, Rob?
Yep.
It starts at the top.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Billy Napier is a bad coach or maybe even not a good enough coach for this program. What I am certain of, though, is the leadership at the top right now has a sort of a sound like of a vacuum cleaner going like that, and pulling the dust out from under the bed. That's what it sounds like. There is no. I'm not convinced that there's the leadership at the top. That the great leadership is what you see at a place like when Alabama had Mal Moore, and Mal Moore walked into Nick Saban's office and said, "What do you need, coach? How much do we need? You tell me how much I need. I will go out and get you what you need." Don't have that.
Gotta have it.
And you got to have it. So anyway, I got
Thank
to
you,
roll.
Francis. Appreciate Francis. You check him out at GatorBaitMedia.com. He's the man. He's the Iron Duke. He's all of us. We love
He's
you,
one of the
friends.
best writers in America.
Good night, sir. Be well.
Franz,
Francis
we'll
Beard,
see
check
you
him out.
Monday morning. Franz will be on Monday morning with us, Brendan, on the show with Coach
Oh,
Ellis
good.
Johnson.
Good. We got
So
to have
a lot of
Franz
fun.
back on the
Lauren,
program.
what'd you think about Austin?
I like Austin. I'm having a good time. We
You making it
just
weird?
met with some friends that
You can go long ways. Go long ways with your phone. You make it all weird.
there you go.
There we
There you
go.
go. Oh yeah,
We
brother.
we had
There.
some had a nice dinner with some friends and
Yeah.
just getting probably hang out. I might catch up with my man Kevin Brockaway from the Gainesville Sun a little bit, and just hanging out, man. Be here till Monday, so
It's nice,
everybody was
isn't it?
pretty nice. They
It's nice going to Texas and getting your ass kicked, isn't it?
yeah, they put foot
Yeah.
to the Gators today,
Yeah.
but it was
But
gonna be a tall task with the third string quarterback, but the fact that the defense chose to revert back to their old ways for maybe the first 4 weeks of the season.
oh yeah,
I mean,
it felt
there was
good.
no way this game was going to be played or even be a contest without Florida's defense playing lights out, and with some of the injuries and just
Sure.
didn't look like a polished bunch today. And Napier was visibly and vocally upset with his football team today. And it's
Oh, he got
interesting.
mad.
A little bit. He
Oh, he
did. He
got
did. He
mad. He
was,
got
and so it'll be
angry.
interesting because he got the vote of confidence on Thursday,
I'll check that
and
out.
then they come out and kind of dud it up today. So it'll be interesting.
Well,
Lauren, what about, and Brendan talked to us about this yesterday. We did a couple of shows yesterday. When Scott Strickland, the athletic director at Florida, comes out and says, Billy Napier's fine, he's just covering his own ass is what he's doing. You know that as well as I do. But a vote of confidence is not what you think it is. Was the Florida team, did they look, from what I gather, what we hear on this show, the Buddy Martin show, every night, the culture, the locker room is together. Would you agree with that? That's
no
important.
doubt about it. It's
they don't have problems on this team.
No. It's a very together locker room, but like we talked about before, being together, the Saturday product doesn't necessarily. I mean, you can be together and be 0-10, and that's been my thing the whole time. Is good football teams, I mean, bad football teams have good leaders. They just ain't got no
Um,
talent.
I'm
And
sorry. I played on too many football teams, and let me tell you, all the ones that I've been on that were super kumbaya, we didn't play in the postseason. Okay, the ones that we listened to the Beatles were like, "And on to me
well,
and
but
you and me." Like,
but
dude, no. The ones that I hated the guy next to me probably the most, and I just fought his ass hard every week to start. That was like it
yeah,
was
but see,
scary. Like think
but
about
that's
like
not been my that's not I mean, I'm just telling you from my personal experience, the teams I was on, the guys you talked to, guys we've had on the show even. I mean, there's some I mean, we all loved each other. We all got
Yeah.
along. We all I mean, we
afterwards,
did.
after the
And
battle was over, after the
no,
war was
no, even
done.
even throughout it, we knew that we were trying to kill each other to make each other better. The fact of the matter is that for whatever reason, this football team consistently fails to make plays on a consistent basis. I mean, you look at three of the touchdowns for Texas, they were plays that should have been made in the backfield,
They play
and they're just not
uninspired
making the
football,
plays.
man.
What?
Uninspired football. It's uninspired football for a full game.
Well, no, no, no. But
It's the
that's not
finish.
that's not
It just
right.
seems
But
it's
that's
like but as a unit. Some
right.
guys
But
get
that's not the
inspired and some guys don't. So it doesn't seem to be everyone going in the same direction at the same time.
I
Offense is clicking,
yeah,
defense wants to give it up.
but
Why
let me
do they
ask you a
want to
question.
give up when they just wouldn't push Georgia around?
But let
I
me
don't
ask you a
get it.
question. Let
I
me ask you a
don't get
question,
it.
Brendan. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If I'm a guy and I'm at the point of attack, right?
Yeah.
It is my responsibility to make a play, right?
Of
My
course, you got to
responsibility.
execute your job.
Right, correct. So
Where
what
period.
Rob asked me was the team together? And
Yeah.
yes, they are. They are. I mean,
As in
it doesn't equate necessarily to wins and losses, but it is a team that is devoid of finger pointing, conflict. It just is.
well, maybe it's time to point some fucking fingers. Like
Well,
that's what
let
I'm
me.
saying, dog, and
I'm going
that's
to
what a
tell you.
lot of guys are saying. Like maybe it's
He,
time to be like, get
here's what I
up
think.
and let's go.
Right.
I think this. I think one of these viewers made a good point, which I've been saying. The football team takes on the personality of the coach. Win or lose, Billy
Nevada,
Napier
Boise
looks
State,
look.
40,
Win or
14,
lose,
Now I would
Billy.
14, by
right,
the way.
and I would agree with that. I
14,
would agree.
14.
I would
But
Nevada
agree.
Billy
just put up
Napier,
2
when he
touchdowns
addresses the
on them. Nice.
press, win or lose, Billy
Nice.
Napier looks comfortably numb,
Boise
and you
State.
cannot be
11
okay
playoff.
with crap. You just can't.
Right.
And so,
I agree with
you're
that.
liking him. Oh, we lost Lauren. Lauren's
Did
been
you get
gobbled up by
mugged?
the.
You
Lauren's
got
gonna be gobbled
mugged.
up by the
It
snake
got
monster.
weird.
And
It
I'm
just
here.
got
Lawrence,
weird.
Lawrence,
Yeah, it got
hey,
weird.
So
Lawrence, right now, Lauren, I've got $20 right now that says that you're not man enough to go in there and order
Says
the
you're
old
a coward.
96er
Bam.
at Vince Young's steak. That's the 96-pound,
Oh
96
no,
ounce steak.
he
You got
doesn't
to eat
like
all
steak.
of it, grizzle
I
and all.
oh no
I
no
don't
no.
eat
I
steak.
had the I went to I went with, we had a lot of appetizers and drinks.
Yeah, he's like a
I'm on that
popcorn
8 ounce.
shrimp guy.
I just
Coconut
finished that eight
shrimp.
ounce filet mignon. You know that was it for me.
That was it. He
Right.
didn't
Yeah.
even finish it
But
all.
Billy Napier's got to quit. He's got to show emotion and get passionate with these guys. I just think he looks comfortably numb.
Right. Well, I mean, he's definitely. I mean, he's not my cup of tea from a coaching standpoint. I mean, let's face it, he's not. And I've been very clear on that. But you know, it up until today, the football team was playing better. I can't necessarily say, you know, and we talked about it on Thursday, Rob, and on Tuesday too. The problem is, you know, you're not gonna get Lane Kiffin. We talked about that. So is Napier having the buy-in from all the players, having a quarterback who was obviously elated with the vote of confidence, which is the most important position in football. I mean, obviously, you bring him back for another year. I mean, he's not going to have much leeway. But let's face it. I mean, they're going to probably start the season at least 3-0 before they head to Miami for the showdown with Miami. And I mean, so you know, I mean, I think that's just where we are now. Now you can go back in retrospect and say we never should have hired the guy and we should have hired Lane Kiffin, but outside of, a Kurt Signetti, who people would be up in arms. Like I said, there'll be a ton of people that are like, well, he was at James Madison in Indiana. There is nobody else. Now, if Florida goes out and loses to Florida State for whatever reason and ends up 4-8, I mean, I'm not sure Billy Napier's retained, but we are in a state, and I said this before, and Brendan, you remember this. We are almost, if something doesn't happen and they don't get heavy in the transfer portal and there's a turnaround of 8 to 9 wins next year, we're gonna be Nebraska. That's where Florida is. They're
We're
on the
already
cusp.
Nebraska.
Well, then there you go. Then there you go.
I mean, dude, I don't know where the hell you are, but we got a whole basketball issue going on. I don't know if you're about that story.
Well,
I mean, like,
my name Bennett. I ain't in it when it comes to that. I try to stay out of people's, their personal,
yeah,
But
I know, but when it hits the USA Today and the front page of ESPN, I have to talk about it because
Well,
we don't
Lauren-
have
Bennett.
Hey,
we
Lauren.
don't have a choice. And when it happens on the heels of the AD
No.
coming
I mean,
out and backing up the
what
head coach, it all feels a little too convenient.
what I will say is if the allegations against Golden are true,
If
then we all remember what happened with Baylor, right?
he's already said that he's been working through this whole time, like he's already
Yeah, but he
Baylor,
also
Baylor
well
with you're talking about with your
The Golden
situation out
Challenge.
there
with
in
Browse
football.
and where everybody
Art
kind of
Browse,
was
that was a
taking.
nightmare.
Yes, that is what you're gonna have, that kind of thing. It is gonna be monumental, the fallout from this. That's all I'm gonna say. So if it is true, there will be monumental fallout from this.
Oh, son, if this is
Oh,
true,
Nelly.
hashtag golden, you know what?
No,
Like
I
this,
ain't getting into that. I'm just
no, I'm
saying what
not
I
getting into
said.
that either. I'm just saying if it's true, the memes. Oh, the memes have already started.
Yeah, I
It's
like I
gonna be
said, I
so
don't.
All right,
I
bad for
don't.
hey
Florida,
guys, if y'all think
Right.
bad for
Florida,
basketball.
but y'all
I'm
y'all are
just
talking
saying.
about Florida's problems right
Right.
now.
I
Look,
I'm just saying
It's
this.
like Sandusky.
All this is right now, as far as Lauren Meadows
I
is
give up.
concerned, is allegations, and I'm leaving it
Yeah,
at that.
exactly.
Everyone's concerned that we all have allegations. There's nothing else to say. I mean,
Well,
look,
we
Right.
if it's not
hey,
true, then this is a horrible thing, and I got the guys back. We've said, as Brian, go ahead, Rob. Sorry,
no,
because
I
you're
was
going to
just going
say
to
what I'm
say,
going to say. Go ahead.
no, Brendan, I wanted to
No,
tell you what when Brendan and I had on yesterday. France was
Mary.
on with us. We did a pop up show about the allegations against Todd Golden. We had an attorney, Mary Turner of the Turner Law Group in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, who's got a lot of experience. She's a great trial defense attorney. She said, "Look, what do we have proof? You know, everybody has their day in court, so we'll let that thing go on. But I'm going to tell y'all something. Right now, Alabama, I pointed this out. Alabama is playing in LSU right now in Baton Rouge. Alabama all time is 29, 10, and 2 versus LSU in Baton Rouge. From 1965 to 1998, Alabama went 16, 1, and 1 in Baton Rouge. They're ahead now 21 to 6. Think about the explosion of anger in Baton Rouge. They ain't happy. And if Alabama were to lose this game, as Gary Harris said on our show Thursday morning, it'll be horrible on his show. So
Right.
every program in the SEC is a loss or two away from being, madder than hell.
Right.
That's
Well,
the world we
hey,
live in.
right. I don't mean to cut you off, Rob, but I gotta go. But let me know what you want from me on the pardon shot.
What I want from you?
Yeah.
Something that says like keep it weird in Austin, or something stupid. Something stupid. I
I'm
like
about to
go to the comedy club. Go to
I'm
the
about to go keep it weird. I'll be here
go
till
to no.
Monday.
I want you to go to the comedy club for Kill Tony and all those guys for the Joe Rogan podcast and all that.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
They say that's
Lauren,
around. Yes, sir.
Lauren, go to Cisco's for some great Tex-Mex food.
Okay, yeah, that's tomorrow. I owe the wife some Tex-Mex, so I got to get on that for sure.
Cisco's, you'll love it. And
What
I
I
Right.
sent you Ken Cap's number. Text Ken Capps, the football writer. He's
Where's
out there covering that game. But Lauren, thank you for joining us.
Hey,
All right, man.
tell your wife what up.
All right, man. Good talking to you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Lauren
All right,
Meadows
Brendan.
live from Vince Young Steakhouse
Vince
in
Young
Austin,
Steakhouse.
Texas.
And he's going to eat the old 96er is what he's going to do. 96 ounces of meat and gristle. You have to do it. You have to eat every bit of it. All right, Brendan, let's get back up on the big screen.
Back
Where
on the
we
big
are,
board.
it's tough. Florida,
She said.
Florida's got a
About
lot
her
going
steak.
on right now.
Florida is done. Like, look, I guess everyone's just. This is, again, everyone's just. I've gotten used to, and Urban Meyer said it yesterday. I don't want people to get used to losing. At the end of the day, as nice guys are or whatever, but you've got to be on the left side of the column, and that's what your job is. And if you're not doing your job, then your players aren't playing, and it's all about players playing and everyone going in the same place at the same time. What word did he use? I forgot because I'm so tired.
You're spinning your wheels.
Yeah, but he says not everyone's balanced in the same direction. You have the succinct, use a different word, synced up. You're all synced up and going the same place. Alignment. Right, because you have to be going, and that's what the Gators lack. And I without saying it, I think he was sort of saying, that was Florida, is that right now, I think he's even saying without saying it, and this is me speculating, and I don't know Urban Meyer, like we don't hang out or anything. I just think that he was sort of referencing the fact that while this structure is in place, a la President Lemo, and like not gonna ever pick a head coach because he doesn't want to be responsible for the future, and he shouldn't have to make that decision. Okay, I get that. That's cool, but in what you're doing now is just effing the future. So
Brendan,
so
Florida's problem is like everybody else. If you think about a buyout, that's $26 million plus the $21 million house settlement. Are you willing to spend $47 million? Then you got to pay your assistant coaches 2-year contracts. You got to bring in new people, pay the buyout for that other coach to leave his school. You can't keep doing this.
Because you're going to be here with Hugh Freeze in a year, so we'll talk about.
Well, no, Hugh Freeze's deal. Hugh Freeze is not getting better. I mean, you look at every Auburn coach since Pat Dye started there in '81, with the exception of Brian Harsin. Brian Harsin did not finish his second year. Every coach at Auburn's won at least 8 games in year 2.
Why is my season over, man? That just sucks.
It's awful. It's frustrating.
I'll tell you know what? Can we have a moment of silence for the fact that my college football season is over? Because we're not going to play for a natty or anything else. Like, it doesn't matter. I knew it was coming, but every year I get sad.
But there's still interest in what's going on there because Florida will be back.
But I love it. I'll watch everybody else, but I mean,
we'll wrap it up. But look,
not wrap it up. I was just sad that my
Army. Oh, look, Army's 14-3. They beat North Texas today. Like I just got a text from Boyd Wade. What a crazy world we live in. Indiana undefeated. Army undefeated. November 9th.
I love Indiana. I love what's going on there.
Kurt Signet.
They're gonna get
wow. Hold it. Stop that one. Okay, Indiana all time is now 11 and 50. 11 and 58.
Way, I didn't see that.
But hold that's Indiana's score there. Indiana's now 11 and 58 all time against Michigan. Kurt Signetti, you know what he did? He brought about 12 or 14 of his best players from James Madison to Indiana with him. Kurt Signetti, hell of a coach.
Wow.
Hell of a coach.
Hell of a coach.
But I'll tell you, look in the SEC again. That big one today in Oxford at Vaught Hemingway Stadium. Ole Miss 28, Georgia 10, and it could have been 42, 45 to 10.
We had the
Georgia had been trending down. They got to get. Hey, Brendan. Georgia's got to get Carson Beck back as a quarterback mentally. Got to get his mojo back because this is the 4th straight game he struggled. But Georgia's so talented They'd won the previous 3, but not today. The first signature win for Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin in his 5th year. And remember, his record all time against teams that win 9 games or more as a head football coach is 3-20. Now, I think that's about to be 4-20 because I think Georgia ends up winning 9 or more games this year. But you can't keep doing buyouts. You can't do it. And here's the thing. I like this, Neo. Indiana winning the national title. LOL. Well, recency bias is a problem for a program like Indiana because no one wants to give them any credit.
Gonna lose. Yes, you're right. No one wants to give them any credit.
They don't want to do it. They won't do it. But I'll tell you something. You look at every program, it's always darkest before dawn. Tennessee, in the last 4 games, has scored 1 point in the first half. Tonight, they're up 20-7. That game should be third quarter with 11:33 to go in the third quarter in Neyland Stadium.
It is 11:33 in the third. And you know what? These Bulldogs are better than this 2-7 record. I think they're a little better. I mean, look.
Well, their offense is getting better under Jeff Levy.
They're getting better.
And, hey, here, Brendan, how costly is that to Oklahoma? Jackson Arnold was the highest-rated quarterback in Oklahoma history that they've ever signed out of high school. And they benched him in the second quarter of the Tennessee game, September 21st. Look, there are so many horror stories. Look at Notre Dame, 21-3.
Look at the Domers are just taking it. That's my only saving grace.
Yeah. I don't think people around the country appreciate how much Florida fans hate Florida State.
1-8. You know what? And you said it too. You said it when they did it. They're like, you're ruining your next season. Your attitude.
I said it all last round.
You said it when they did it.
Yeah.
You said it when they did it.
You cannot have 31 guys. Don't give me this bullshit about that these guys, it's okay if they opt out. No, it's not. You are representing that university. You're representing that brand, that fan base. They have paid you in advance a scholarship, room and board, NIL money now. And if you quit on a team because you don't think the bowl game matters, that is wrong because you're going to quit on everything tough the rest of your life. You can't just pick and choose when you're ready to man up and take a fight. That's a problem. And I'm telling you, if you look at the cultures, where the things are strong, those guys fight for each other. They stay through the tough times. But in the case of Florida, as a Florida fan, Brendan,
that's what
it's got to be the most frustrating thing you've ever seen.
But you've got to learn how to do it fast. You have to have a blueprint of how to make it. That's what's going to win. And you know what, Rob? And you know what? I really believe, I tell you this, in all seriousness, we have to get like the AI in sports. Like it makes so much more sense now. It's coming. Like it's coming so fast now that it's ridiculous. Like we have, like it makes so much more sense because it can organize so much so fast. Like we're going to talk a lot about this in the future. But we're going to see. I've done a deep dive in like what companies are doing AI assisted coaching, like it's all around the corner because it organizes everything that they do.
Well, it's coming.
And we're going to see all of this is good. The day of the AI coach is less than 5 years away. I really believe that.
Well, I'll say this. Let's update those scores, Brendan.
Do it.
We can. We got Boise and Nevada tied at 14 apiece.
They scored 2 touchdowns. Boise was up 14-0. And the Wolfpack just put it on and they were really quick.
Yeah, and Boise is putting a lot of money into Ashton Gentry, the running back. They did it.
They've got a playoff. What's their number 11 in the playoff or on the in the poll?
12. They're number 12 in the playoff rankings. Yeah.
I mean,
hey, look,
now they're excited. Well,
Colorado 41-27 over Texas Tech. They're making progress. South Carolina and Vanderbilt. Two teams picked at the bottom of the SEC this year. Both are bowl eligible already. Look, a lot of storylines in the SEC. Here's the thing about the SEC right now.
That's a great win for the Gamecocks.
South Carolina. That besides Ole Miss beating Georgia today, that's the biggest win in the SEC. Is it an upset? That's debatable. But Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt, what always happens to them late in the season is the lack of depth. They just get beat up. Everybody's banged up, but they don't have the depth. And with the portal being what it is, a lot of people don't have the depth that they had 5 and 10 years ago because those second and third teamers, a lot of them are just bolting and going to another place. Hey, again, want to thank all of our great sponsors who make all this possible. Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, after Thanksgiving, that weekend, Black Friday, Thanksgiving weekend, they'll be open on Sundays from 1 until 6 o'clock on Sundays through Christmas. So that's a big deal. So support all of our great sponsors. Again, like Landers Ford, Memphis.
I got my Hewlett done. Look what I got.
Hey, I got another one right here.
I am a Hewlett and Dunn commercial.
Yeah,
I've got my Hewlett and Dunn hat on top of me in the back. I got my Hewlett and Dunn hat on my head.
And look, they've got over 7,000 pairs of men's and women's boots. Great looking clothing. Duck Camp, right. Filson, Barber, the women's stuff. Wow, the dresses. My wife loves to shop there. Great stuff. Luggage, STS. They've got more duck heads than you've ever seen in your life. Proud to have. And Matei's Garage on Black Road in East Memphis by Folks Folly, open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Cordova Automotive, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. All of our great sponsors, again, get out there and support them at sidelines.live. Brendan,
4 million hours of podcasting this week.
Well, do what?
We did. I love when you do the blooms with your two.
That's right. Every time I do that happens.
It's 2 fingers. You can turn that off, but I'm not going to turn it off because I love it now. It's my favorite thing. It is.
But what a week, man. It's been incredible.
Great job this week, Rob. Excellent work.
Ditto for you. Can't do it without you.
We did about 15 hours and over a couple 100,000 easily views in our 7 platforms. Thanks everybody that's watched. Go watch college football. I'm going to go watch college football till 1 o'clock in the morning. That's what Rob said he's going to do.
I am too. And Brendan, look, again, people watching this show, I say this because your most important asset is your people and your team. We invest in each other. Brendan says, hey, can we go live? And I rushed in, do it. It is so much fun. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. And tell your friends, your families, your neighbors about this show. We are growing. We find excuses to win every day. We're the most blessed people in the most blessed country in the history of the world. God bless America. Watch some football.
Watch some football.
Subscribe. Hit that button to Sidelines. We love having you watch us. We're here to serve. We'll see you Monday morning with Coach Ellis Johnson and Franz Beard and the crew to break down all the weekend's action, man. Again, thank you for watching. Appreciate it.
Night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Night, John Boy.